Welcome back to Cover Your Assets. We've got Craig Nestor, Foreclosure Defense, Todd Rooker, Unbiased Advice. This show, financial tactics for the 21st century. And you have plenty of time to join us at 651-289-4488. That's 289-4488. And we did have an off-air call during the break wondering if we dealt with precious metals, guys. And I
Wrong
said,
show.
Not today. But
my wife probably knows a little bit about that.
Well, as do I, but not in an official capacity. So we'll just move forward here. So, Craig, before we went to the break, we kind of started getting into your specialty about, foreclosure defense. And really, we always talk about the fall and rise again of the American homeowner, and you're really in the trenches with that. So the idea is we all know somebody, if not our own selves, that have been affected by the economy and the housing situation. So we try to get crisis back into creating a future. So let's talk a little bit about your role in that.
Well, I've sat probably at 140 kitchen tables in the last year, just really trying to sit down and see where a family's at.
That's a lot of banana bread.
The coffee's good, and I like that. So there was this thing where we thought this was about irresponsible property flippers, and it's really not. I mean, last week I met with a single mom in Cottage Grove who, after 20 years, was laid off. And now all of a sudden there is a crisis. I mean, this is a soccer mom just trying to get kids going and get to church on time. And then I met some empty nesters in Eden Prairie who all of a sudden everybody leaves and the house is too big and the fixed income isn't what they thought. Or an executive right down the road here in Matamidi. So I meet with people, and the frustrating part is that the same answers don't work, Todd. And where these are the last people that would ask for help. They're just not naturally good at asking for help because they think they're going to muscle through it. And the things that have worked for the last 100 years will still work, and it won't.
Or they have just enough information to be dangerous. That's the other problem, is that they'll talk to their brother, sister's cousin and go on the internet, and they get just enough information to be dangerous, and they don't understand the range of implications and how everything works together. And an example of that is people will attend one of my classes, and they'll say, look, man, I don't want to pay your consult fee. I just have a couple quick questions,
Yeah, like the doctor at the cocktail party,
That's
right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I say, listen, I tell you what, if I give you the answers to your two quick questions and I don't give you all of the ancillary information that must surround it, you'll take that advice. And even though I've not gotten paid for it, you'll try it. It won't work. And then you'll come back with you and your attorney to sue me. And I didn't even get paid for the, two quick questions. So you need to have all of the information. Craig's service is phenomenal in that it enables a person who thinks they're at the end of the rope maybe to extend the timeline to be able to stay in that home longer, to gather themselves up and possibly come up with another strategy where they may not have had any strategy at all and they've just literally let the ball roll until it's about off the table. So Craig, when he's doing foreclosure defense, when a client comes to see me and I know that they've gone through the barrage of loan modifications, and it hasn't worked, which isn't a big surprise, and we'll talk more about that. I know where to send them. I'm going to send them to Craig, and he's going to know how to intercede and use foreclosure defense to shut that mortgage company down legally.
Here's why people think they only need a couple questions answered, because they think they can muscle through it. All they need to know is the roadmap and what's the guide and how do I get there. Here's why this doesn't work.
And they don't want to pay anybody anything. That's the other issue.
Well,
they're already feeling so,
right.
Yeah.
Well, you think a professional is expensive? Try an amateur around what we do. That's when you really get in trouble. But if you look at it in the past, in the last 100 years, if we were in trouble, we could downsize. We could sell our home for a profit.
That's right.
You put your tail between your legs, you have a garage sale, and you slink on out of the neighborhood, but you keep the kids in the school district. That's how we've done it in the past. We could downsize with a plan, but now you can't.
Sell your house at a profit, pay off your credit cards.
Yep, you were done.
Oh, heck, just get a home equity line.
Right.
Come on.
Well, that's the second way.
Yeah.
If we didn't want to sell, but sometimes it wasn't just get one for vacation. Sometimes the actual premise was in case there's an emergency. You could actually borrow cheaply against the equity in your home or refinance and take a little bit of cash, get yourself through this tough time. So in the past, you could sell your house for a profit. In the past, you could borrow cheaply against the equity in your home, but there isn't any equity in your home. And lastly, if you had to, you could get out there and get a second job. But we are up against recessionary type employment. So this is a perfect storm when you can't work hard, you can't borrow, you can't sell, you can't stay, you can't go, and we are in this limbo. And we're kind of stuck, Todd.
So
Well, and I want to know, Todd, and maybe you can start this too. Why should, Craig, you be that first phone call when someone is feeling house stressed, when they've got one or any multiple
Well, the first reason is
combinations?
I'll take their call, and Todd won't. He'll make you wait 4 or 5 weeks.
Julie always picks up.
Well, you'll talk to someone on my staff.
Yes, you will. I'm tight with all of them.
Yeah.
'Cause that's who I always
You know,
talk to.
and it's funny because people say, "My God, that they'll finally get through and do a phone call," and I'll try to get off the phone in 5 minutes, and they'll say, "My God, you've told me more in 5 minutes, and I've learned talking to everybody else I know. Where did you come from? Yeah, I need to set an appointment with you. Thank God I found the right person." Then I put them on hold, and they go to my staff, and they say, "Yeah, Todd's booked out 6 weeks in advance, and they're losing their house next month." So that's they need to talk to Craig, but. The conceptualization or the compartmentalization of their strategies is flawed because they don't have enough information about all of the different things. So many times they'll think, well, I need to short sale my house because that's my way out. And I'll say, well, have you looked at your overall picture? Because the idea that somebody should look at their budget and their finances, even though they probably never actually even had one, and that includes financial professionals.
So making more money is not a budget?
Yeah, I'll just make more money. That'll fix everything,
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah,
sort of.
I'll tighten the belt.
And then I'll tighten the belt. And what does that actually mean? Does that mean I just watch my money, or does that mean my kids can't be in hockey anymore? What does it really mean? But, they look at that, and I say, look, to stay or to go in a house, if you're going to walk away, then what's the alternative in a lesser home if you're going to rent? How much cash flow does that improve your situation by? And oh, by the way, even if you short sell your house, you still got $80,000 in credit card debt. You'll go from a $1,700 or $2,000 per month house payment to a $1,200 a month rent payment, and you're still upside down, and you've not fixed anything. So not to mention the fact that you've got a second mortgage that's $80,000 that in your short sale or your foreclosure will not go away, and you'll be pursued for that deficient debt. So now you're in a house, $1,200 a month in rent, $80,000 accelerated with a debt collection law firm coming at you, and still have $80,000 worth of credit card debt. And you think a short sale is going to fix your problem. Tell you what if we position you to file bankruptcy, strip out your second mortgage so you don't have it anymore, modify your first mortgage so your first mortgage payment is even less than it is now, no second mortgage, no credit card debt, learn to manage money, and within 2 months you'll be in a stronger position than you have been in 10 years, and it beats the heck out of rent because you'll have the interest write-off that you won't have in the rental. Wow. Can you do that? Yes. Is it easy? No. You got to know all the landmines and you got to know how to do it. But see, these simple answers to simple questions don't exist, but people don't know enough to understand that.
Yeah, and so that's on at your strategy, situation room, Craig. Todd, when they meet with you, Craig, on the other hand, depending if they're 1 month away and we need some, quick boots on the ground. What is it that you help them determine, Craig, when you get these phone calls?
Well, should we stay or should we go? Should we stay in this house or should we downsize with a plan? And I want you to know there's honor in both these decisions. We really have to look at this and retool, rethink, reevaluate how we live. Should we fight this out? And if we should, what is our plan to do that?
And stop feeling sorry about what the bank thinks and what everybody else is going to think. That's the other thing. Square your shoulders up and focus on preserving your family and feeding your family.
Well, a passive strategy doesn't work. And unfortunately, what we've been told is to go to your government agencies and fill out this stack of paperwork and just wait in line and na. And how that turns out is that people are left unnecessarily homeless and hopelessly in debt. When you get the denial from the loan modification, well, then what do? Well, we deny the denial and we resubmit the paperwork because we're going to buy ourselves another 30 days without a sheriff's sale being scheduled. That's going to give Mama Bear and Papa Bear another 30 days to put themselves in a better spot, even if you're not going to make payments.
Even if you're not going to stay. Because remember, when you walk away, you're still going to be going to rent, and they're going to ask you for first month's rent, last month's rent, and now because of your beat-up credit, a healthy security deposit. Well, holy crap, that's $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. You walk away empty-handed, tell you what, the shelters are all full. You better be gathered up and prepared for your next move and stop focusing on where you are now and start thinking about what you're going to do next. Craig can buy you the time with Foreclosure Defense to be able to have a good conversation and come up with a strategy for a soft landing, as he likes to call it.
We had a guy that came back from Iraq, his second tour. He couldn't find employment here. It's tough. You come back home, 2 tours in Iraq. There's not a lot of jobs. He was exhausting his savings. He calls his lender and asks for help. Guess what the lender tells him to do, Todd?
submit information for a loan modification.
Submit it. Well, first of all, you have to go late on your mortgage by 90 days. So now instead of using his dollars for that, he's going to say, okay, if I'm going to go late for 90 days, I'm going to pay off my car. Pays off his car.
Oof, bad move.
Bad move. So
that sounds like it's such a great idea.
Well,
though.
that's how he was taught. He's a good guy. He's a good soldier, right? He's a good guy. I'll show that lender. I'm going to use those dollars to put myself in a better spot. Yeah, and so the lender has him go late. He contacts the lender after he goes late, and the lender says, I'm sorry, you're over 90 days late. You're already in the foreclosure process. We won't accept the payment unless you pay the balance in full.
You mean like calling the loan or just the 3 months of payments?
The 3 months of payments plus his fourth
But they
payment.
are, in fact, calling the note due.
Yeah.
They absolutely are.
Okay.
So if you can't perform up to 100% of what's outstanding, the foreclosure goes through and you're done. So that's what they told him.
So we have to stop this process. This is a legal process. And in this case, we had to bring in an attorney that had to get in front of a judge and stop the process. So sometimes it's as easy as filling out the paperwork. Maybe multiple times we will fill out that paperwork. We'll keep filling it out until it no longer buys us the time that we need, and then we're going to get more aggressive.
But go ahead.
Well, I just want to know, were you able to get him a result?
Well, we don't know what the result is. We
You're still in it.
paused the process.
Okay.
So you say she kept him in the house.
He's in the house.
He's in the
He's
house.
not making payments. It's stopped. We can engage the lender now in a common sense way where people just aren't steamrolled because they weren't equipped and understand the playing field of what really is going on out there.
But it is counterintuitive. We've got to recognize that the stronger you look on paper, the tougher it's going to be to negotiate. You look weak on paper, you got a strong position to negotiate. You take that money you're not using to pay off mortgage payments and pay down your credit card debt, you look better on paper and you're in a weaker position to negotiate. This is information you're not going to hear anywhere else. You got to understand how it works.
Absolutely. This is Cover Your Assets. We'll be back with more information, financial tactics for the 21st century.
AM 12.